Donald Trump got elected saying that he would be the politician who, unlike the establishment Democrats and Republicans, got what was really going on for regular Americans who've been left behind by the economy. And yet, the disconnect between the experience of working class Americans and their new president still seems pretty wide. And you can see it every time Donald Trump talks about the economy from the point of view of a very wealthy person. For instance, today he tweeted, stock market's up record numbers. For this year alone, Dow up, that's almost 19%, S&P up 25%, or 24 if you round down. NASDAQ up almost 30. It's the economy, stupid. But what you just talked about is not the economy, stupid. You talked about the stock market, stupid, which is a part of the economy, but not necessarily the part of the economy that for the vast majority of working Americans, they care most about. And we've got some numbers to back that up.
Well, there used to be a time, I assume, there used to be a time when the performance of the stock market was an indicator of the overall health of companies and how well companies were doing, and there was a more direct relationship between the growth of companies and economies and the strength of unions and the strength of growth of wages for the people that worked for those companies. But the stock market now and the strength of companies are over here. And the way workers for those companies enjoy the benefits of all that is a completely different game.
It's loosely connected, if at all.
Because the shareholders are the ones that are the beneficiaries of the economy, and those shareholders are less and less affiliated with those companies in any tangible way.
Yeah.
So the benefits of the stock market don't go to the people who work for them, and then you feel like you can tout all this job growth, and the jobs that are being created are not good.
Yeah.
The reason there's so much job growth is because people have to have more than one job in order to get by.
Yeah. Well, and I would say at least, like you're talking there about him talking about job growth. I would say that's at least a step closer to the experience of actual working people. But he doesn't talk about jobs nearly as much as he talks about the stock market. He recently said, I don't even follow the stock market, and yet he has tweeted about it hundreds of times. And here's the thing, and this will be a lesson, a bit of education for Donald Trump. Nearly 2/3 of Americans say this year's record-setting Wall Street rally has had little or no impact on their personal finances. 39% said stock market performance had a very strong or somewhat strong impact. So some people are doing well when the stock market does well. I would make the prediction that they're the sort of people that would be doing okay even without a big stock market rally. The sort of people who are not affected by stocks going up are the ones who most need financial help.
No. The only issue I'd say is like pension funds are related to the stock market, and so if you
pensions are becoming rarer and rarer with every passing year,
and precisely because of the financialization of our economy, which is like the reason I say like even the health of companies isn't necessarily related to stock prices, because a healthy company can be dissolved in an instant if it makes sense. Just watch that AOC clip about private equity. People just like, nah, we're just going to tear it up and get rid of it because it makes more financial sense to the stockholders to eliminate these jobs and this company completely in a day.
And just a little bit more survey data. The survey suggested most Americans are not aware of market movements, with just 40% of respondents correctly saying the stock market had increased in value in 2019. And can you really blame them? Why would a regular American who doesn't have any stock, I think what they say 10% of Americans own over half of all the stocks in America.
Yeah,
if you don't own any stocks, and there's a good chance you don't, why would you have any attention whatsoever to what's going on there? And yet that's what he's talking about when he talks about the economy, because although he convinced millions of Americans that he spoke for them, he's a New York billionaire who only knows millionaires and billionaires. And so the stock market, that is what matters to them. They don't care about what wages are at. They barely care about inflation. They care about the stock market. That's about it.
Yeah, and it's tough because you have, when it comes to the suburban family voter, as much as I hate to talk about them, like this is something that they're like, when you hear people like Bernie Sanders say, I want to fight for people I don't know, that is someone who might be willing to take more of a step for the concept of justice than someone who's like, yeah, but my 401k is pretty good right now, and I don't want. Elizabeth Warren seems to be like pretty against stock market stuff. So is Bernie Sanders. Like that's the scary moment for me with the stock market. Like immediately, if there is a Democrat at all elected, there will be a downturn in the stock market. Whether it's tenable or whether it lasts very long is up for debate, but like that's a very real thing when you say like, and that'll really suck for 10% of people, but I just am so terrified about the general economy as it exists now that like it's gonna suck, but there's gonna have to be massive adjustments in the way it's set up in order for it to be healthy in the long term. And that's why I'm so angry at Trump, and I'm angry I'm angry about the fact that people have voted for Trump because it would completely, without any question, lead to something like this, where what he's done over the last 3 years is to just inject like bull adrenaline into the stock market. And of course it's gonna go big because he just got rid of all taxes on all corporations. And of course, right now it's on as much cocaine as Trump was originally built from in the early 80s. That's most of his body is just residual cocaine that got struck by lightning and came to life.
That'd be a good cartoon.
Please get to this Rand Paul thing. We have to.
Okay, so really fast, another area of disconnect between the actual experience of people who are struggling in this economy and Republicans who are your saviors. Rand Paul tweeted this: excited to announce my plan to help alleviate student loan debt. The Helper Act would allow individuals to use money from their 401k or IRA to pay for college or to pay back student loan debt. Watch the video to learn more.
It's insane.
I put together a tweet, I didn't send it, but I think it was, excited to announce my plan to help alleviate child hunger. The Hamburger Helper Act would allow individuals to eat their dinner earlier in the day. Watch the video to learn more.
I mean, like he says, if the way to get rid of debt is to take money from your 401k and pay for your debt. So his solution to not having money is to have money.
Yeah. The people who are crushed under student loan debt, I'm gonna argue, have not been able to contribute a lot to their 401k over the last few years. And even if they were, even if bizarrely, you could stash away a bunch of money in your 401k, but you weren't able to make a dent in your student loan debt, taking young people who are struggling financially, stripping their 401k down to nothing, and delaying the process where they start saving for their retirement by 5 or 10 or 20 years is a guarantee of more senior poverty decades in the future. That's the literal worst financial situation you could set up for a person, is to tell them, sure, save for your retirement, but wait until you're 45 to start doing it. That is idiotic. Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.